Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. In this business of sports reporting, people like me and Mary-Kay-Cabot shouldn't listen to everything that is said by players, owners, general managers, or agents. In an ideal Cleveland sports world, the Browns would have Myles-Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney rushing the passer from both sides of the line. But yesterday it was reported Clowney didn't want to come to Cleveland, even though the Browns apparently were offering more than any other team. And today there have been reports that the Browns are still trying to get him. So let me see here. Clowney doesn't want to come here, but he might if the Browns add more money to the pot, and concerns about him hustling on every player is still out there. Okay, we can use him, especially if he finally provides some of the much-needed drama to this team. Mary-Kay-Cabot is here tonight. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine in its 24th consecutive year, soon to be 25, seen exclusively here on cleveland.com. Mary-Kay-Cabot, who covers the Browns, does a tremendous job doing that for cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. Mary-Kay, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great, Les. How are you?
I'm okay. I wanted to bring up something that we talked about last week on the show when somebody asked you about Hall of Fame voting and all, and you responded that you and Tony Grossi are Hall of Fame voters. Is that something, are you crowned for life? Are you like the Queen of England, or how does that work?
Yes, I am kind of like the Queen of England. They will have a hard time getting rid of me now. I'm pretty much going to be there until I'm not doing my current job anymore. And sometimes even if you change from, now I'm with obviously the Plain Dealer and cleveland.com, but even if I switched over to another media entity, which isn't going to happen, but the people that do that, they can still retain their vote. So they're stuck with me for a long time.
All right, I'm a Heisman voter, and they can't get rid of me either, so that's pretty cool. Unless I really
Good.
mess up. I did vote for Monte Te'o to be second one year. How'd that work out?
Well, we'll forgive you for that one.
Who knew at the time? 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at reallslevine@gmail.com. Mary Kay, yesterday we got the video from Baker-Mayfield, and I wasn't there at the time, but it just looked to me, in watching what he had to say and listening to what he had to say, he seems like he's a little different. He's just more open to answering questions the proper way. Is it because it's early? Is it because he's trying to impress a new coaching staff? Or is what I saw, is that the real thing?
Well, I think what's happening here is I really think that Baker Mayfield is buying into what Kevin-Stefanski is selling. And Kevin-Stefanski has asked his players to keep it about football, to not be, flapping their gums, to really go out there and just to try to show on the field what they're capable of. He doesn't want them talking about it. He wants them doing it. And I think that Baker Mayfield really trusts this coaching staff and Kevin Stefanski because they can back it up. They've got a lot of evidence that they are successful at what they do. And I think he's really trying to say, you know what, look, this is what my coach wants. I'm going to tone it down, put my nose to the grindstone, and get better than I was last season.
Does Stefanski understand how much Baker's gone through with, as far as coaching is concerned, the changeover in coaching with Hugh Jackson and then going on all the way to Freddie Kitchens, and then going back to his college days also? What do we have? 5 or 6 different head coaches in 5 or 6 years?
Yes, and I think that will serve him well. He's very smart. He's got an incredibly high football acumen. And I really do think that he has the capability of picking up schemes very, very quickly. It's one of his biggest strengths, how football smart he is. Kevin Stefanski understands completely what Baker has been through, but I think what he has to offer Baker is a scheme that is so quarterback friendly that you can take even just an above average quarterback and have him look excellent in this scheme. It's backed up by the running game. It's backed up by the play action pass, and most quarterbacks end up with really good numbers in this scheme.
And one of the problems that you have when you bring a new coach in, they want to establish their their scheme and force the personnel into it. It should be the other way around until you get the right people.
Well, on one hand, I would agree with you. On the other hand, I think that this is such a specific scheme that they are running that they had to go out and they had to get the kind of guys that were going to be able to run it. Not just some tight ends, because it is a 2 tight end system, but they had to find offensive linemen that were going to be able to execute the wide zone. They've got to be able to move. They've got to be athletic. They've got to be able to, to pull and to get out there wide and open things up. So yeah, I do think that this wasn't a situation where Kevin Stefanski came in and he's going to adapt himself to what was here. No, they are finding guys to run Kevin Stefanski's scheme.
Mary-Kay-Cabot is here from the Plain Dealer and cleveland.com. Just like you're like the Queen of England, where it's a job for life. Do we have a job for life here in Cleveland as long as Baker Mayfield is here, that we have to listen to everything that Colin Cowherd has to say?
Yes, I think that those two are a package deal.
Right.
They will be forever linked, and we get one, we've got the other.
It's sort of Cassius Clay and Howard Cosell that we're stuck with.
Right.
Let's take a listen to what Colin Cowherd had to say on Fox Sports about the Browns. He says Baker Mayfield is Case Keenum with a slightly stronger arm. It's all got to be perfect, but if it is, Cleveland's offensive unit is really good. You can get to the playoffs, which is what I'm predicting this year for Baker Mayfield. He'll get to the playoffs. It's a no-lose situation with Cowherd. He can go one way or the other, and he's going to be right or wrong either way, and he'll live off whatever he comes up with.
Well, I think he's got a point there. I mean, you can look at this roster now and couple it with the coaching and the scheme that we just talked about, and there are signs there that this should be a winning football team. Now, making the playoffs will be a little bit easier this year because you can make it as a wild card. They added 1 wild card team into each conference. So it is easier to make it. I mean, you have a better chance if you win 9 games, because it's going to be hard to win the AFC North. It is going to be very difficult. You still have the great Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. You've got Ben Roethlisberger coming back. Now you've got Joe Burrow down in Cincinnati. So I think it is going to be a very, very tough division. But I do think that the Browns have a much better chance of making the playoffs this year, in part because of that extra wild card.
Can we be sure that Roethlisberger is set to be the starting quarterback when things open up?
Well, that's the plan.
Is there any doubt right now?
No, I don't think there's any doubt about it from a what they want to happen standpoint. The only thing that would derail those plans would be for his elbow to not cooperate. And of course, you never really know how someone is going to come off something like that type of an injury. So hopefully for him and for the Steelers, he'll be okay.
All right, let's go back to Jadeveon Clowney. Yesterday, the reports were that he wasn't going to come to Cleveland no matter what the money was. You were reporting today the Browns are still interested.
Well, while he is still out there, while he is still available, it's still out on the table. And we've seen these things change on a dime before. And you know how everyone always says it's not about the money. It's not about the money.
Really?
Quite often in the NFL.
Really? It's not about the money?
But quite often it does turn out to be about the money. So, I'm guessing that, when you look at the Cleveland Browns, there are so many things to get excited about if you're a player that, in terms of, Myles-Garrett, Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit, then you've got the offensive side of the ball and all the great things going on over there. Odell, Jarvis, Nick, Baker. If I were Jadeveon Clowney, I would look at this and think, out of some of the other places that I have an opportunity to go to, this is not a bad place to go. So therefore, in my mind, I think it probably does have something to do with the money. I just have a feeling that if the Browns came through with the right offer, that could sway him.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Mary-Kay-Cabot is here, cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings over the last 6 months? People are winning in record numbers, and winning is happening all around the state. Play an Ohio Lottery game and play it today. Mary Kay and I return in a moment. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine. New content is posted. It's real easy. We put up a question, you put up an answer, we put it on the air a little bit later. It's as simple as that. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively, powered by cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Right now, we're giving them some primary positions to learn, but Coach Tarver and Coach Bloom are really trying to cross-train most of the linebackers. It's just going to be a situation once we get on the field and we start running our defense. It's going to be how well they fit it, a specific position. Are they capable of making plays based on the scheme? So it's going to be something we're going to fill out once we get back for training camp. But I tell you what, all those guys in the meetings really have been doing a good job. So I know mentally they can handle it. It's just physically what are they capable of doing?
Great. Next question will be from Marla Ridnour. Marla, if you could unmute on your side, please.
Yeah, I wanted to go down that same path a little bit. Is there something that when you looked at mack-wilson and Takitaki that jumped out about maybe their skill set or something that you could improve on, not necessarily their weaknesses, but what did you like about them that gives you optimism about how good they can be?
Yeah, I think they're both athletic. They have cover skills. They have range. I think they're both, they play with a nasty demeanor. I remember last year we were looking at Mack and Dre Greenlaw. So they're both, to me, similar type of players. So I have a reference just in terms of what I saw Dre last year. But both of those guys just look like what we want at linebacker. Athletic, play physical, run to the ball. So I think they're a natural fit. They're just both young guys that need to keep gaining experience.
Mary-Kay, with so many new coaches here, and Joe Woods did coach with Stefanski for 5 or 6 years together, right?
Right, in Minnesota, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that shouldn't be a problem.
No, they have a great familiarity with each other. They get along really well. They're definitely on the same page in how they like to coach guys and what their philosophy is. They're singing from the same hymnal, so to speak.
So what stuck out most to you from the press conference, the media conference today? Any surprises?
No, there weren't any surprises. I think that he readily admitted, and you could hear some of it there, that they're not really sure what they have in the linebacking core. I think they're pretty certain of what they have on the defensive line and what they have in the defensive backfield. But when it comes to the linebacking core, it's a little bit of a work in progress. They've got a lot of bodies there. They've got a lot of guys, as he mentioned, that are cross-training for different positions. So no one really knows for sure exactly who the strong side or the weak side or the middle linebacker is going to be yet. What's more, they don't even know for sure if they're going to be in that 4-3 base very often. They'll probably be in a lot of nickel, a lot of dime, and doing some different things. So that was one of the things that I found to be interesting, is that, he admitted that they really don't know exactly how that's going to shake out yet. And the challenging part of that is the fact that they are not on the field with their guys. They're almost done with their defensive install, and they have not seen their players. Joe Woods doesn't really know what Sione-Takitaki is capable of because he's never seen them on the football field. He doesn't know how he'll respond to being yelled at. He doesn't know how he'll respond to Nick Chubb catching the ball out of the backfield. He doesn't know any of that yet, and I think that's been one of the most challenging parts of this offseason.
Is that not knowing much about the linebackers or not adding enough people out there? Is that by design, or is that because they tried to get people and couldn't get them, or they had other needs before that? Maybe on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, you know what? It just doesn't seem like they're allocating a ton of resources to the linebacker position. And you and I have talked about this before, about Clay Matthews. He's still out there. He's somebody that I was interested in at least taking a look at. And it really doesn't seem like that's something that they're planning to do at this point. But, I just think that, when you let a Joe Schobert walk, I think that really speaks to what you think about the linebacker position at this point. It's, they're not necessarily going to be getting to the quarterback. You've got most of your defensive linemen are going to handle that part of it. I just don't think it's a position of super, super high priority for them right now.
All right, if the Browns want to go out and get somebody, they've got cap space to do that. It seems like they've always had cap space. Right now, there's 5 teams that we've listed with the most. You got the Browns at 37.2, Redskins at 35.6, Lions at 29.3, Eagles at 24.7, and the Bengals at 24.1. And the thing about that, Mary Kay, is you got five teams listed there. Only one of them, that would be the Eagles, made the not only made the playoffs, but even had a winning record. The other 4 did not. So is having the most cap space a good thing, a bad thing, or it depends on the situation?
I think it depends on the situation. I really do. I mean, I think that, you'd have to look at that a year or 2 from now and see if it helped you and see how you allocated those resources. Were you able to take advantage of that money to bring in whatever, a Jadeveon Clowney or someone like that, that could help you get to the next level?
Is it a good thing to let the money ride and not play it all out?
Well, they have to be very cognizant of the players that they have big paydays coming up for, and that would be Myles-Garrett and Baker-Mayfield. They're going to have to pay these guys a ton of money going forward, providing that it works out that way. And of course, this is a big year for Baker-Mayfield to determine that he's going to be the guy that gets that $30 million a year or whatever it's going to be. So they have to be very careful with their cap money right now.
All right, so Jadeveon Clowney is still on the board, I guess. Adam Schefter said this on ESPN. I think the Browns have been the most aggressive team with him financially. I just think he's balked at going to Cleveland for whatever reason. I also think he's been hesitant to go because he wouldn't have gone already because it is the most money. Is that not wanting to be in the city? Is that a lack of belief in the organization? I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, he's not been willing to take it so far. What do you think it is? Maybe he wants to just go back. He's still comfortable in Seattle, or he's playing the game to try to weasel some more money out?
Well, I think there are probably a number of factors at play here. He has been vocal about the fact that he loved playing in Seattle. He likes the coaches there, and it seems like in a perfect world, he would like to be back there. The other thing is he's coming off of a core muscle surgery, and teams would have to try to bring him in and get him a physical, which, things have opened up now, so he can probably do that. But the longer it goes, the stronger he gets and the more likely he is to do very well on a physical. Now, I've seen some videos and it looks like he's really back to where he needs to be. But, that could be a factor, the fact that he is coming off of this surgery. And then, as I said before, I'm sure money is a big part of it. He originally wanted $20 million a year. Then, according to ESPN, he brought that down to around the $17, $18 million a year range. And maybe he's holding firm to that. Maybe the Browns aren't willing to pay that. Maybe he thinks he's still going to get that. And there's no football going on right now. So in his mind, he can wait a little bit.
Sure. Until tonight, I'd never used the word weasel as a verb. And I just want to mark that down for historic purposes. So he's trying to weasel some more money out of it. Where do you think he winds up?
Oh, gosh, it's hard to say. But, you know, even though it seems like, based on Adam Schefter's report, that it's not going to be here, stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
And these things, as I mentioned before, can change on a dime. It seems like the Browns really want him. Even when we asked Joe Woods about him today, he was very complimentary of Jadeveon Clowney, by design, I'm sure.
Yeah, why wouldn't he want him?
Yeah, exactly. So I would think that I would think that the Browns are still in the running, even though yesterday it seemed like that was not the case anymore. I wouldn't completely 100% rule that out. But there are other teams that have been interested, including the Seahawks and the Titans.
Wouldn't that look great, though, him on one side and Myles-Garrett on the other?
Yeah, I think so. And, you know, and of course, everybody wonders what happens to Olivier Vernon in this scenario if they sign Jadeveon Clowney. You know, that's the big mystery. I'm not sure if they would, at least for 1 year, try to keep all three of those guys. They probably could. They have the cap money to do that for this year. And that would certainly be quite the rotation if you had those three guys and then also Adrian Claiborne rolling in there and Chad Thomas as well. So, you know, you could really mount quite a pass rush if you can bring Jadeveon Clowney in here.
East, west, and south, that's what you've got with Northeast Factory Direct, plus the website you'll want to check out before you leave the house, northeastfactorydirect.com. We'll come back in a moment, 216-575-0403 if you want to give a shout out to Mary Kay. Hey, Mary Kay, you can do that. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate Naturestone's 30-year anniversary with a free Naturestone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Naturestone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Naturestone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
I feel really good about it. You know, obviously with Myles, Olivier Vernon, Sheldon Richardson, the guys we have, Larry, the guys we added in the draft, Billings and free agency. I feel really good. I've been part of teams, you know, going back to Denver and San Francisco where everything started up front. And I feel like with the guys that we have in our defense right now, I feel like we can really do some things in the run game and the pass game with the guys that we currently have.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Tony Grossi, coming to you. We need you to unmute on your line, please.
Good.
Yes, go ahead.
Joe, could you give us a little more detail about your concept of the defense you're going to run? You were involved in a system comparable to Seattle last year, and before that, you were with Vance Joseph. So what's the end product going to look like?
Well, if I tell you, I'm telling everybody in the league what we're doing.
We'll keep it between us.
Yeah, no, really, I feel like, again, I've been on some good defensive staffs the last couple of years. Going back to my time in Minnesota, my time in Denver with Wade Phillips, and then last year with San Francisco. What I'm really putting together is a combination of what I feel like has been the top defenses the last basically 10 years. So it's really a combination of the things that I've done in Minnesota, Denver, and San Francisco. And they all fit together. Again, we're almost through our whole install. So I feel like it's going to be a really good defensive package that's simple, where the guys can play fast, but I think it'll cause some problems for the offenses. No, I've come from both systems. I would like to transition into a dime system, but it's going to be something that's going to take time to get into just because of getting the reps. But eventually I would like to have a nickel package where we have two linebackers on the field, but also just to create better matchups and be a little bit more diverse in our scheme. I would like to get to a dime package where we're putting extra safety on the field.
Mary-Kay, when the Browns put their staff together, and because so many of them were with Minnesota, they didn't play the Browns very often. Do you think some of these coaches were surprised at how much talent was here, or did they expect it when they got here?
Oh, I think most of them probably expected it when they got here. I mean, Joe Woods played against the Cleveland Browns last year. So, he was part of preparing for all of that. And, he was very, very familiar with the Browns. He has also coached at Kent State. He's got a lot of family here in Cleveland. I think he grew up in Pittsburgh, but he's got a lot of Cleveland roots. So he, for one, is somebody that really understood everything about this roster and what it was all about. And I think there are plenty of others like that too. I mean, Alex Van Pelt came from Cincinnati. He's very, very familiar. So your two coordinators alone right there know everything about the talent on this football team. And then Mike Prever carried over from last year. So I think they had a pretty good handle on it.
Let's take a look at the expected starters to start with the defense, and just pop in anytime you want to say anything about any combination or any player here. This is the defensive line. We expect it to be the starting lineup unless there's some trades or free agent pickups come in. You got Myles-Garrett at the one end, Ogunjobi, Sheldon Richardson, and Olivier Vernon. Does this strike you as being, without adding Clowney or anybody else, does this strike you as being a very high-rated unit?
Absolutely, 100%. And then they added some depth. So I do think that you're going to have Andrew Billings come in there and press maybe a Larry Ogunjobi for some playing time, or at least be part of that rotation with Sheldon, Larry, Andrew. Then you're going to have, as of right now, you've got Adrian Claiborne, Chad Thomas that can rotate in on the outside and keep the pass rush fresh. So not only do they have some really great players on the front four, they have some great depth.
All right, now you get to the linebackers. It should be a concern at this point, although there's time to change that. You've got B.J. Goodson, Mack-Wilson, and sione-takitaki. Your thoughts as you look at that?
Well, I think I would put B.J. Goodson in the middle. That's where he feels he's going to play. That's where he wants to play. And in that scenario, then, you could pop Mack-Wilson back out to the weak side, where he started 14 games last year in place of Christian Kirksey. So, when I look at that, I still think that you're going to have some guys that will come in there and try to challenge a little bit. I mean, they drafted a third-round linebacker out of LSU in Jacob Phillips. So, he's somebody that you can look at as someone that's going to challenge for playing time. Those LSU guys quite often come in and make some noise right away. So I don't think anything is a given right now at linebacker.
All right, let's look at the Browns' projected starters in the secondary, starting with Denzel Ward, of course, Ohio State and Macedonia. Greedy Williams at cornerback, Carl Joseph, and a guy who, I don't know, did Delpit slip down there? Was that an unexpected pickup for the Browns?
Well, no, I think they were pretty happy to get him in the second round, considering, he won the award for the best defensive back in college football this past year. He's got a lot of great things about him. I think the knock against him was his tackling. And Joe Woods said today he can tackle. And sometimes it's just a matter of being willing to do it and wanting to do it and just being willing to stick your nose in there and kind of sacrifice your body and all those kind of things. But when you couple him with a Carl Joseph, Carl is the more heavy hitting kind of a safety. So you've got a good combination there. And Grant has good ball skills and, and he should be able to grab some interceptions.
They have enough depth at this point?
Yeah, I think they have enough depth. I mean, this is another one of those places where I'm sure Andrew Berry will keep his eyes peeled in the offseason, but they brought in Kevin Johnson to play nickelback. You still have Terrence Mitchell in that defensive backfield. And, they added the other safety, Anderson Varejao, or actually that's a basketball player. But yes, his name escapes me right now, but they definitely have some depth at that position.
Well, you threw me for a loop too. You said they'll be looking in the off season. I don't know what the off season is anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Ben Sendejo is the one you're thinking of.
Yeah, I gave them one of the ex-Cavs players. Sorry about that.
That's okay. 216-575-0403. You can explore your interests and find a program that puts you on a path to a bright future from Tri-C, offering more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu for more information. We'll check out why we think Myles-Garrett was so significant last year and how big the loss was for the final 6 games. We'll do that and more with Mary-Kay-Cabot. More Sports and Les-Levine continues, powered by cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Brown's Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week, and it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
Yeah, I think Myles has the right mindset in terms of wanting to be, MVP and all that. But we just need him to be the best player for us that he can be, and whatever happens, happens. But right now, I think he's in a good place. I think as a young player in this league, you go through a lot of different things. So I definitely think he's going to learn and grow from the situation that happened last year. We really haven't talked about it, after he got back, after he got reinstated. But he's focused on getting better. He's focused on being a good teammate. He's been in the meetings. He's trying to step up and take more of a leadership role. So I definitely think he's moving in the right direction and has the right mindset.
Mary-Kay, Myles-Garrett is only 25 years old. Is that hard to believe?
It is hard to believe. It does seem like he's been around a little bit longer than that. But, he's one of a number of guys on this football team that are still, right in that core, that are right in the prime of their career. And I think they have a really good nucleus of young guys to build around right now.
Well, we knew by losing him at the end of the season was going to be significant, and it turned out it was that and more. The Browns had a 32% pressure rate with Garrett and a 21.5% pressure rate without him. The team had 30 sacks in the first 10 games, but only 8 more in its final 6, where Garrett was not eligible. He accounted for 10 of the team's 38 sacks. So even with a little, you put him in for the whole season and expect improvement, you're going to see some monster numbers out there. I would assume. I mean, you're talking about well, probably him and Donald may be the 2 top defensive ends in all of NFL football.
Well, Myles is absolutely for sure one of the best defensive ends in football, and that is why the Browns will do every single thing they can to get him wrapped up to a long-term contract as soon as they can. They can start those negotiations now. I'm sure there's been contact made, and I'm sure that they will do everything that they can to make that happen. By the way, he and Jadeveon Clowney share the same agent in Bus Cook. So, when you're talking about one, you could just go ahead and talk about the other. But not only were the Browns without Myles-Garrett for the last 6 games of the season, they were also without Olivier Vernon for most of the entire second half of the season. Steve Wilks was playing with at least one hand tied and more behind his back last year without those 2 guys the second half of the season. There's just no way that you're going to try to generate a pass rush without your 2 edge rushers on the field.
I talked earlier about Jadeveon Clowney. We need more drama here. We haven't had any here in this off season. So that means eventually we got to think of the offense and the drama that's there. Do you think we're going to cut down on the drama factor a little bit?
Well, I think so, because, that's what Kevin-Stefanski wants. And again, I think the players are buying into that. I think they're listening to him. He has sent a very clear message about that and many other things, that he wants it to be about business. He doesn't want all the hype that there was last year because, obviously they couldn't live up to that. And he doesn't want to set that kind of a tone this year. So he has really tried to hammer that home. And I think for the most part, the players will listen to that. Having said that, you do have a lot of guys on this offense that have a lot of personality, and he doesn't want, to beat that out of them. He wants them to be able to be themselves to a certain degree, as long as they are not hurting the football team, and that's the whole key.
Mary-Kay, how deep does a new coach want to know what went on last year? You bring Stefanski in here. There was off-the-field stuff. Does a coach need to know that, or would he rather just start with a clean slate and show react to whatever happens now and forget about last year because he wasn't here?
You know what? He strikes me as the kind of person that would want to know every single thing that he can about what happened last year. And I'm also guessing that he probably knew, that this was an opportunity that could happen for him. And so I'm sure, he was paying attention to that for a while, or at least studying up quite a bit once he got to the coaching search. So I'm sure he knows a lot, and he had been through the coaching search twice with the Cleveland Browns. So I think he had some institutional knowledge of what was going on here, and he has certainly had time to catch up on his reading in this crazy offseason. So I think he knows what he needs to know.
216-575-0403, Northeast Factory Direct, East, West, and South. That's where you'll find their locations. You'll also find them at northeastfactorydirect.com. Check out Sokolowski's University Inn. Check out their website. They'll give you all the information about when they expect to start up again, and when they do, you're going to want to go. They're the only winner in Cleveland of the James Beard Foundation Award. They won that about 4 years ago. We're going to come back in a moment. We'll check out and your responses with Mary-Kay-Cabot. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your home is your most important investment, and your basement is the go-to part of your home. It's your children's rec room. It's where your family and friends spend time together. It's much more than just a basement. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic Nature Stone basement floor. And every Nature Stone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive mini pearl stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Let's check out this date in sports history. By the way, I had the guys from Smiley One out of my house today. They did a terrific job, and I highly recommend them. May 28th, that was in 2006, Barry Bonds hits his 715th home run to pass Babe Ruth and his career total of 714, the real number of the most homers at that point. Now let's check out this date in Les-Levine history. 2007, Les thinks that Barry Bonds and Dwayne Kuiper had about the same amount of real home runs, clean home runs, which is 1. Before we go to the Facebook question of the day, Mary-Kay-Cabot with us. Let's go to Orrin, who's in North Carolina. Orrin, good evening. Go ahead.
How you doing?
All right, Orrin, go ahead.
All right. Hi,
wait, you got to have the noise in the background turned down.
Right.
Oh, Orrin,
Right.
you got to turn that person down in the background.
Yeah, I'm moving away from it.
Okay, good.
Right now.
Good.
Yeah. I wanted to ask. I was looking at the Browns yesterday, and I was looking at my team on Madden, and I was thinking about what would you think about putting like Myles-Garrett as a linebacker / defensive end, like putting him to help the linebackers out, like Goodson and them to make it, just like with Vernon and them, and like mixing and match them in the line and linebacker. What do you think?
All right, legitimate question.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it is a legitimate question. The thing about Myles-Garrett is that he's so versatile that he can do so many different things. Now, he is a 4-3 defensive end, and that's not going to change. But when they mix up these fronts, they'll move him around and try him in different spots, and they'll try to hide him in different places, and you never know where he will line up.
What else, Orrin?
Yeah, and also, I was looking at the team, and by the way, my Browns team is 12-3, and we got a bye week in the playoffs this week, so that should be a good thing. But I used to work for the Browns, and I used to talk to Mary-Kay down there. I think she's one of the best cleveland.com reporters, and don't let them haters talk you down. I miss Cleveland, and keep doing a great job, Mary-Kay. Love you.
Okay, Orrin.
Thanks, Orrin.
He doesn't love me, apparently, but that's okay. He wouldn't be the first. He wouldn't be the first. Let's check out on Facebook.com, More Sports and Les-Levine. What off-season move do you think will have the biggest impact on the Browns' upcoming season? Gerard Morelli says the new coach. Glenn Berger says naming Alex Van Pelt as the offensive coordinator. He has experience working with Aaron Rodgers and Andy Dalton. Don't laugh, but he and Stefanski appear to be on the same page. Let's hope they remain united throughout the season. Dennis Davis says Austin Hooper. Fans are going to find out how good he is. Andy Mees says the addition of Austin Hooper should help Kevin Stefanski's offense excel. As he proved in Minnesota, he uses tight ends effectively. Also, Baker-Mayfield was more effective during the second half of 2018 when he spread the ball around to different receivers. This gives Baker another good receiving option at tight end, aside from having to rely solely on OBJ and Landry. Mark Haas says the new uniforms. You like the new old uniforms? I do.
I do, yes. I really do. I like them a lot.
Well, they're not the new uniforms. They're the old uniforms. But in fact, if they have a throwback jersey night, you wear the same uniforms. All right, you can send it. We, of course, are seen live from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. You can, of course, call us during that time. If you can't get us at that time and want to get in, you can go to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. 216-200-6650 is the number to call. Leave us a message and we'll get right to it as soon as we can at the next opportunity. Mary-Kay-Cabot is with us. We're going to come back one more time. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your home is your most important investment, and your garage is the entrance to your home. It's where your kids come in from school. It's where your family and friends gather together. It's much more than just a garage. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic NatureStone garage floor. And every NatureStone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive gray brown blend stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow, the weekend winner edition with Dave Bacon. Doug LeMaurice will join Dave for that from 6 until 7 tomorrow night, Friday, right here on cleveland.com. Got an email in from Eastside Eddie, who asked the question of Mary Kay. He says, Mary Kay, ask if Mary Kay thinks part of the decision to dump Freddie was his, I've never used this word either, was his lack of gravitas after Garrett was suspended. Freddie never let the chip off his shoulder and gave the impression that he thought it was funny, but when you think he encouraged the team to go out and fight during the Indianapolis scrimmages, I was not surprised. I found that Freddie to be an extremely lacking in intelligence in general. Well, that's not fair. But what do you think? It had anything to do with the way he handled the Myles-Garrett suspension?
Well, wearing the Pittsburgh Started It t-shirt didn't help matters, but that was just probably one more nail in the coffin. I think there were many, many reasons why Freddie Kitchens was not back with the football team, not the least of which was the fact that he just did not run an efficient offense. He just did not have a good plan. He didn't do things that really brought out the best in Baker-Mayfield. He didn't run enough of the play action. He didn't run the ball enough. And it just didn't flow. It was extremely dysfunctional. And there were other things too. It was just a big mess.
Well, I don't want to come on and pound down on him, but I brought this up in the exhibition season last year. I don't know if you knew this story, and you probably have never heard this about any other coach in the NFL. On the Friday night before the exhibition game down at First Energy Stadium, it was a 7:30 game, and at 4 o'clock, Freddie was picking up his wife at the spa on Chagrin Boulevard in Pepper Pike or Beechwood. And I'm pretty sure we've never seen a head coach do that.
Yeah, you know what? There were a lot of things that we've never seen a head coach do that Freddie did. It was just, And, I've talked to people behind the scenes that were part of it. I've had people say, tell me that, that it was the worst they've ever seen just in terms of the process of it all. And, I think that we saw some of those things play out on the field when you had players, cussing him out on the field and, getting in his face. I mean, they just didn't end up respecting him because the process was not a sound one.
How about it? You had 20 scripted plays and then nothing after that. Why don't you just rerun the 20?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, that was part of it. I mean, you've heard players like Jarvis Landry say that, they didn't feel like they had a plan after the 20 scripted plays. And of course, those 20 scripted plays were coming from, a collaboration of everybody. But once those were over, there were too many people in the headset after that. I mean, it would be a situation where he would be like, okay, what do we want to do here? And he'd get like 3, 4, 5 different answers. And it's just not the way an offense can be run.
That's what you practice for, isn't it? I would think.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to know how to call the game. And he just really did not know what he wanted to do. Right. Once again, after the script was up.
And I've got some How Come Quickies to check out here. Big Ed, I can't accept the first one. Mary Kay, when they send in How Come Quickies, I should just be able to pick them up and read them without worrying about the censors, who we don't have, by the way. But I shouldn't have to worry about that, should I?
No, you really shouldn't have to worry about that after all these years. You don't deserve that, Les.
Right. All right, here, I'm going to take a How Come Quickie. Oh, I'm sorry, Big Ed, I can't use the first one. Second one I'll go with. How come my track coach told me he knew my fear of hurdles, but I got over it? You like that?
I like that.
It's okay. Mr. Gullible, making a comeback. I'm going to accept his 2 tonight. How come knowing how the earth rotates makes my day?
Cute.
Yeah. All right, this one you got to think a little bit. Mr. Gullible comes in with this one. How come my shoe repairman said he would heal me, save my soul, and even die, DYE, for me? Little religion into the show tonight.
Very clever.
Mr. Gullible. Here's John Patrick with his nightly rendition. How come elevator music is awful on all levels? There you have it. That's the best we have tonight. The best we have tonight. My favorite How Come Quickie, I think, because Bud Shaw has determined the definition of a How Come Quickie. Number 1, they got to be quick. Number 2, they got to be unexpected, and that's about it. And my favorite one is how come if you buy a small bag of small bags, they'll ask you if you want me to put it into a small bag? Covers all the thing Bud Shaw has to do with. I got a minute or two. What do you have on your mind that you haven't let us know about yet? Or what surprise do you have? What surprise can we find in cleveland.com tonight or tomorrow or the Plain Dealer?
You know what? It's not really a surprise, but I think, one little tiny bit of news came out today that they have extended the virtual off-season program for 2 more weeks. And there had been talk over the last couple of days that, perhaps they would try to squeeze a mini camp in before these guys all disperse at the end of June, on June 26th. But now the virtual off-season program runs through mid-June. I do not see how they're going to get a mini camp in now. They've also they've gone to phase 2 of opening facilities, and they did come out today and say that they are going to try to get some players into the facilities by the time this is over. And I still find it a little hard to believe that that's going to happen, but they're not giving up yet.
What is the hurry to come up with the 1st and 20 or 1st and 15 instead of the onside kick? Seems to be a rush to judgment here.
Well, that was tabled today, so it's not going to happen. The 4th and 15 that did not go through, so that is no longer an option. It's still going to be the onside kick this year. But I think it was just just try to shake it up a little bit, and nobody recovers the onside kick of their own anymore, anyways. And I think it was just a way of getting a little strategy into the game.
I think you get the thought that maybe the owners they don't need a kicker except for field goals, so why pay extra for a kicker?
Yeah, maybe that could be. Not really sure.
Are they throwing around any other ideas, not just for the onside kick, but any? I know the cameraman in the sky or the referee in the sky is also not a go unless they change that around. You like that idea?
Yeah, I kind of do like that idea. I think any way that you can officiate the game in a better way, I'm absolutely all for that. I mean, there's nothing more infuriating than a missed call or a wrong call. And so I'm all about trying to get it right no matter how you can do that.
Yeah, 25 years ago, I suggested that they have a bunch of referees sitting up in the press box playing poker and eating chips, pizza, or whatever, and somebody says, hey, you guys check out line 3 and see what they've got there. And that's basically what this is coming to fruition.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if you have the technology, why not use it? And of course, you don't want to overdo it, but when you can make improvements, I usually tend to err on the side of getting better at it.
Hey, did you watch any of the golf over the weekend with Brady and Manning?
You know what? I didn't. I really didn't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe if they did it again, I would, maybe I would think about that. But I was out and about. I was actually probably golfing myself that day.
Good for you.
So I would rather do that than watch that.
The question I've been asking a lot of people, and I'm not sure I have a consensus here. I didn't see anything. I mean, Tom Brady made the big shot and got the eagle, and that turned the match around, although they wound up losing. But I didn't see anything in Brady's personality that would make me jump through hoops for him if I was a teammate of his. I saw that in Manning. I didn't see it in Brady. Did I just see him on a bad day, or is that the way he is, and it's Bill Belichick that would carry the day?
Well, he better have some personality if they're going to do a 9-part series on him coming up on ESPN, which is actually, I think, produced by Tom Brady and his people. So, he better have a little bit more going for him than maybe perhaps what was seen that day.
All right, it's a good enough answer for me. All right, that'll do it. We'll see you next week, right?
We'll see you next week.
You got it. Thanks so much, Mary-Kay-Cabot, reader in the Plain Dealer, and of course, cleveland.com. And right here on Thursday nights on More Sports and Les-Levine. So Dave Bacon will have the show tomorrow night. That'll be with the weekend winners. I'll be back on Monday. I'm not sure who's going to be here with me. Bud Shaw will be here on Tuesday, Dennis Maniloff on Wednesday, and Mary Kay, of course, on Thursday. That'll do it for us. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.